You'll be watching noon all day.
Set up on you tonight when you leave.
What'd you say? Okay, everyone.
Call to order the meeting on Monday, March 17th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do the roll call, please, Jenny.
Mayor Vogel,
Here.
Councilmembers Wallace,
Here.
Fawnes,
Here.
Udvig,
Here.
Robinson,
Here.
On to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
I'll second it.
First and second by Viewballer and Fawnes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. On to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Robinson. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Udvig. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda passes. On to meeting open to the public. Anybody wishing to speak? Please come forward and state your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Nita Cerrone. I'm representing my son who lives at 23045 Ambassador. My first time here, so thank you for letting me be here. Questions? It's come to his attention in the last week and a half that they've torn down all the trees behind his house, making room for an apartment complex that's coming up. Is this in fact true? Does anybody know anything about this?
Typically it's not given, but I'll allow it. So I don't know, Kate, you want to address?
Yeah,
Her
Mayor
question?
and Council, so currently the reason that the trees are coming down are for a road.
Okay,
One of the projects that is being discussed is an apartment building, but that still has several through a public process that has to go.
okay.
But the reason for the trees is for a city road.
Because we're trying to dispel any rumors that might be happening and to be prepared in a better way. His concern is about an apartment complex going behind there because he has a fenced-in yard. And if there is in fact going to be an apartment complex right behind him, his concern is whether or not, being it's an apartment, that we're assuming that there's going to be children that are going to be living there. And what we'd like for the council to consider as you go through all those motions that you talk about, children climbing his fence to go over to the middle school right across the street from him. So I don't even remember, it's been a while since I've even been out here. I think there's like 4 houses behind where those apartments are going to be. Okay. And with Bridge Street being supposedly a stop sign, not a roll-through sign that goes down Ambassador, you know, that to be considerate of that as well. And not being sure, again, because we don't know where the entrance to that apartment complex would be. If it is going to come down Ambassador, to consider the traffic that goes through there, and again, the crossing overs to the school. I have never confronted a council about their building entities, so I'm not sure where else to go to that. I'm assuming if all the steps haven't been already put on an agenda somewhere, that letters or emails or something are going to go out to those homeowners, letting them know so they can come and speak before anything is decided on that. I know he had other questions, but mostly the most important one was the fence. He would, like a silence fence or something to keep the kids from going over into his property, the property next to him, the property on the other side. We don't want him cutting through the yards, and we surely don't want him running across the Ambassador to rush over to the school. So those are his biggest concerns. He doesn't get off work till 6 o'clock, so he says, "Mom, will you go?" So I'm here. But thanks for letting me speak, and it's hopefully something that you'll consider as your process goes through. Do you have any clue like when the residents would be?
Kate, do you want to address the steps kind of?
So Mayor and Council, so as of right now, again, what's moving forward is the road portion, and that is going to move forward whether it's an apartment,
Okay.
townhouse, whatever.
Right.
So the road is what's in process with the trees. Anything that has a development, they are proposing to go through a concept phase with council and the planning commission for just an early look at the project. And then they'll start working on steps that would require the mailing to neighbors, if there's any public hearings, what type of notifications. So concept, I believe the April planning commission, we're looking at that. It'll come to council in May. So we're April to June, July as these steps kind of move forward.
I'm kind of glad that he's doing it early enough instead of waiting till the week before or something. So are those planning meetings open to the public here as well?
Correct.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. Yeah.
What else?
Something there.
Yes.
Please encourage you, again,
Yep.
this is an open forum, so I
Yep.
encourage you or your neighbors, or your son's neighbors. You know, this is an exchange between council and citizens. I mean, that's why we're here to do a job. You guys are citizens that are paying property taxes and own property here, so
That's kind of what they're thinking too.
more people that ask more questions, I mean, their clarity becomes a lot nicer when, instead of people mad and upset and
Right.
spitting and fuming, so if other people are concerned, please welcome them. It might not be the answers they want to hear,
No,
It
but
might
so
not
long
be
as they
full-
have answers,
but I
yeah.
mean, answers are better, than, we try to be a pretty open group here, so.
Yeah, and like I said, better than finding out a week before everything's gonna be settled and they say, well, I didn't know about that. I've heard that too, so.
Sure.
Well, and you could, I was just gonna say, you could always email or call staff as well. I don't know what his work schedule is. But staff, if you come to us, I'm gonna call staff and say, hey, what's going on? Try to get the answers, come back to you. It becomes a game of telephone too. But if your son reaches out to staff too, you can get the answers usually straightforward right from the source. If it generates more questions, you can then ask that next question to the staff member as well. I don't know what his work schedule is like or what he does for work, but if like during his lunch is the only time that works, I mean, a lot of times somebody's available. So just a
No, he's a 6:30 to 6, so.
steady, okay.
Yeah, he tried to get off at 5 today so he could be here. And he was mad at himself because he didn't ask soon enough to take the hour off early. So I said, all right, I'm on my way, bringing corned beef and cabbage, and we're gonna have dinner here.
And-
So it's in the car in the crock pot.
And I would advise him not to listen to whatever rumors he reads on Facebook because Facebook is crazy.
Well, and that's, I mean, he would have been here to ask that because he's not, he's not a rumor mill person, so he wanted to find out for himself. And he trusts that what I'm gonna come back and say is going to be less than a rumor, so.
And he can check YouTube too if he wanted to watch
I'm
this.
assuming that names are on your website, okay, or emails or something?
Yep.
Okay. Again, I appreciate for letting me speak, and you can go on with your business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Officer? No? Anybody else want to speak? Okay. All right, so on to special business, nothing, public hearing, nothing, on to old business, dangerous dog ordinance amendment. Jenny?
Mayor and Council, before you tonight is the second reading of the dangerous dog ordinance amendment, which we spoke about at the March 3rd council meeting. This just goes over to amend what our current process is that we are doing with determining dangerous dogs by bringing in a third-party administrative hearing officer. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to.
Any other discussion, anybody?
Nothing here.
No.
I got nothing.
So do I make a motion and then it's a roll call vote?
Yep.
Correct. So I'll make does somebody want to make a motion to approve the resolution 2025-16?
I will make a motion for the ordinance 345 second reading to approve that.
Motion by Councilman Mulebauer. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Fanis. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Vogel,
Aye.
Councilmembers Robinson,
Aye.
Hedvig,
Aye.
Thomas. Aye. Mulebauer.
I,
So approved. On to new business, fleet body camera system.
no, we gotta do a resolution now.
Oh, sorry, resolution. Told you I'd screw it up.
That happens.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve resolution 2025-16, the summary publication of ordinance 345.
I'll second it.
Second by, first by Mulebauer, second by Fanis. Any other discussion? This is roll call as well?
Nope.
Nope. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Summary resolution 2025-16 is passed. On to new business, fleet body camera systems.
Mayor Cosmo, as mentioned in your agenda reports, the police department has been using our current squad cameras, otherwise known as fleet cameras, since 2014, and our body worn cameras since 2021. So our fleet systems are about 11 years old, and our body cameras are about 4 years old. And our current licensing for our server, our Panasonic server right now that houses all that data, that will soon no longer be supported. In our capital budget, we did determine useful life for our fleet system of 8 to 10 years and 4 to 5 years for our body cameras. And this is largely due to technology changes, which is changing daily, it seems, performance and just the normal wear and tear that these systems face out in the field. So we made the decision last year, about mid last year, that we were supposed to replace both systems at once. And we then began looking at manufacturers. We did research a number of them and arranged to have some demonstrations with 3 vendors to compare the products in several areas. Following the demonstrations and receiving quite a bit of feedback from some other agencies, we're also looking at things like performance, reliability, reputation warranty, and some other capabilities. The decision was made to move forward and recommend Axon as the provider for both fleet and body cameras. A little bit about Axon. They've been around for a long time, since the 90s. They're used by agencies across the country. I believe it's in excess of 25,000 agencies. They have a very good and reliable product with integrations such as live viewing, which is where our dispatchers and our supervisors could actually tap into the cameras of officers and see live viewing, see what's going on in the field. Not for every circumstance, but for those certain tests where they might give some guidance or need an officer to answer on the radio or whatever the case may be. They also have built-in redaction software, which allow us to no longer current software that we're using for redaction. That would save us about $1,500 a year. They also have license plate viewing technology capability. They also provide third-party sharing, which will allow us to import videos that the public would supply to us. This could be from cell phones, doorbell cameras, this could be business surveillance cameras. Currently, when we get that video now, we use a different software to capture those images as evidence, basically, and upload it into a different system. So this will allow us to, again, remove that additional software that we're currently using, would save us about $3,000 a year by having it all integrated into X. The hardware, there's a 5-year warranty on the products under the TAP, or the Technology Assurance Plan, with Axon, and so that will allow us to receive upgraded body cameras every 2.5 years, and upgraded fleet cameras. Evidence.com, which is Axon's cloud storage, that will allow us to a seamless transition of data. It's all going to be in one spot. It's basically going to be sending a link to our attorney's offices. We're going to be able to click on it, open up, and send. Much better than our processes now. So when we compare the other systems, a lot of them have some of the capabilities that Axon does. None of them have all the capabilities. It just seems that Axon has far exceeded the others in areas of product and system reliability, ease of use after talking to these other agencies, and their reputation has been solid over the past distance. So at the end of the day, we determined that Axon will meet all the needs of the police department in areas of the equipment, in areas of the back end for our records people, and customer service. And tonight I'm looking for city council approval to move forward with entering into an agreement with Axon for the equipment, the services over the next.
Start with you, Kevin. Any?
The only question I have back as far as the body cameras in 2021, what was the life expectancy then when we purchased those?
So when we prepared the capital budget prior to that, even we determined there was gonna be a 4 to 5 year lifespan, and that was pretty much based on the guidance of manufacturer and our IT people. So they just, again, with technology and the environments these cameras are in daily, it was 4 to 5 years that we based on that.
And the life expectancy on the new product that you want to purchase?
It should be about the same. Like I said, if we go with this technology assurance plan, they're gonna give us upgraded body cameras every 2.5 years. So it's actually less, and then the fleet cameras every 5.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Sarah?
I don't have any questions on this.
Amy?
I don't have any questions.
Joe?
So it's kind of like I guess like the jump program, so to speak, like T-Mobile has in a way where they keep giving you new stuff. That's cool. You just keep paying them every year and keep it going. And then the evidence.com, have you had a chance to use that?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's pretty simple. So we use it with one of our other cities where they can just send us a clip.
I don't have any other questions. I think you did your homework and
I agree. I don't have any questions about the homework. I'm just curious, what kind of committee makes these decisions? I mean, who sits in on?
So this was made up of both our record staff, because they're using all the backend services, and then myself and our 2 sites. Set in 3, 4, 5 demonstrations to multiple vendors, and we get it done. But we were involved with us.
Looks good. Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the replacement of the fleet body camera systems?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Udvig. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Robinson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion passes. Meeting open to the public. See nobody. We'll move on to reports. Dave, fire.
Mayor and council, for your review is the fire department's monthly report for the month of February. You look on the top, we responded to a total of 60. Averaging route time of 4 minutes and 1 second. Just for reference, we started off today at 194 events for the year. Well, today we have now reached 200 events. It's been a bit of a busy day. You'll see in the matrix too, the breakdown of types of events that we responded to over the month. our infers reporting system actually had to add a new category, so if you look at the bottom, part of the graph, they actually now have a false crash bulb alarm for the smartphone or smartwatch. As we're starting to see more of that integrated technology, then people are enabling that feature on their phone and it's automatically creating dispatch events, whether it's false or actual.
So I drop my phone and then it sends you guys out.
If your fall or crash notification system is up and running.
Thanks.
What's the name of the owner?
All right.
Our breakdown events for the month, we had 42 runs on station 1, 9 on station 2, we had 8 all call responses and 3 duty officers. Our breakdown for the year, for the month, for our dispatch codes is on the left-hand side of the column, and our current projected run volume for the year is 23, or an increase of 14.5 this year. And for the month of February, we averaged 2.3 responses per day. On the next page, you'll see our incident count by hour. It's pretty steady throughout the day. We're tapering off on the overnight, which is pretty common. Our busiest day of the week again was Monday for the month of February. And our firefighter responses peaks again on Fridays, which is the same as January. And again, we see the firefighters responding by hour is the highest around that. We did give 4 mutual aids on the month of February and we received 0 mutual aids. So we have so far in the month of March received mutual aid twice. Once was for a grass fire, once was for an event that was dispatched as a structured fire, but was not a structured fire for mutual aid. Terminated pretty quickly. We had 15 fire events on the year, 47 or on the month, 47 EMS events. Our average time on scene was just over 25 minutes. And again, no property loss for the month. We made our turnout time, which is our time out the door, 64% of the time on the month. And we met our under 10-minute on scene time. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
So your end, Joel, any questions?
I don't have any questions. Good report. And I will thank you for your super fast response. I did get a phone call from a resident about that structure fire, which was a permitted burn. I was able to relay that information to the resident pretty fast. So, thank you.
Amy?
I don't have any questions.
Sarah?
I don't have any questions either. It's another good report. Sure. Thank your staff for all they do to help keep our communities. We appreciate it.
Kevin?
Appreciate the time you put in that, good report as usual. Were you guys involved in the control burn on 47 last week, like Tuesday or Wednesday?
We were not. Typically with the controlled burns, they're typically done by the DNR or a third-party vendor that has to be permitted through the.
They notify you though that something like that's gonna take
They
place?
do if it's within our city, not if it's outside. So
Okay. Also, did you put new grass rig in play not too long ago?
we sure did.
Have you used that yet? Since it's been,
A few too many times already this spring,
really?
including today.
Is there any way to curtail the burn? I know when we can tell when it's dry and then the snow is all gone. I still drive around neighborhoods and I see people burn stuff, whether it be big or little stuff. Any way to get on that, or if you guys are out and about, or any of your officers, if they're out and about, can they stop it and give anybody some helpful tips like, hey, buddy, knock it off?
If we see something that is out of the ordinary, sir, our staff are encouraged to make contact.
In a courtesy type manner,
Yep.
for sure.
The restrictions do come into play on the permitted burns. Very rarely do we see restrictions placed on 3x3x3 campfires. What we see most of the time, 90% of the people out there that are having a recreational fire on a Saturday or
Yeah.
Friday or Saturday night are highly responsible. They're doing all the right things. They have a water source there. We do have the occasional inappropriate use of a recreational fire. Today would be a great example of that. There's the fire we went to East Bethel today. They had a recreational fire last night, which was completely legal, appropriate size pit. But with the wind today and the dry conditions,
Mhm.
the fire rekindled, burnt up an acre of their yard, which
Wow.
ultimately started the garage.
Oh,
So sometimes the best laid plans don't always
sure.
follow suit. But permitted burns will probably be on restriction, I'm assuming, if not by the end of this week, early next week. They typically stay on for quite a few weeks in the spring until we get some moisture, we start seeing vegetation come back to life. But that's all managed by the state.
Into March already, but if we get 2 to 7 inches of snow here Wednesday or Sunday, can a person still burn at 3 inches of snow?
They can.
They can,
As long as it's continuous snow cover.
okay. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Kevin, I've just got two quick questions. One, kind of piggybacking on, I talked to Dave about this a little bit about the burn permits. I don't like the system, bottom line is. And I mean, in general, if you go buy a burn or come and get a burn permit, it's not put into the system. So in other words, a neighbor calls, of course, the fire department's gonna have to send somebody, but right now, they don't just send somebody, the entire department gets sent, even if they have a burn permit.
Depending on how it's related to this.
Right.
So in this
Correct.
instance, it was relayed as a structure fire. If somebody calls in as an illegal burn, that's not necessarily gonna activate the entire department. So it's really on what the caller tells the dispatcher that impacts how they categorize that call and therefore how it's dispatched.
Out of curiosity, I mean, because I know you and I talked about it a little bit, is there a way that we can lobby the DNR or somebody to come up with a system where, because you mentioned that they don't do online permits or whatever, but that you fill out the permit and then it gets, dispatch knows about it? Because right now dispatch has, you fill out the paper permit, or we have a copy here and the person has a copy, but none of the neighbors know about it or anybody else.
Right.
And dispatch doesn't know about it. So when dispatch gets the call, it's like an all send.
Yeah, I think I'll have more information. So the DNR is hosting their annual spring wildfire season meeting on March 26th down in Bunker. 6 p.m., which I do plan on attending. They go back and verify that Anoka County is still not online permitted available. So I'll ask some of those questions when I meet with the DNR here.
Thanks. Yeah, if there's something we can do to help facilitate or move that forward, I think that's something that should be moved forward, that dispatch knows it was a pulled permit kind of a deal. Like,
Right. I think it would
Go ahead.
help things,
Yeah.
but I think as a fail safe, it's not terrible to respond right away, right? Because if somebody's driving by, they say, I see a structure on fire, they don't know anything. They don't know the address. They're just driving by like up Rum River or whatever. They see that. To get fire moving as fast as possible to save something if they need to is obviously the best reaction, unfortunately. But while you're on the phone with the person, they're saying, well, I think it's over here. And well, is it that house? They don't know if it's that house necessarily. They're still going to generate calls, which is kind of what I explained to that resident that called. So it's, again, how it's relayed to dispatch. It's, I see something burning. They call, they have no idea what the address is. How are they going to line it up with the permit too? Because it's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately, I think.
good point. I agree.
But it'll help. I mean,
Yeah.
anything will help.
If we-
So.
I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying. But if we could eliminate even a handful of them, rather than rolling the fire department out for everything.
Don't disagree.
And
The one resident that called me will appreciate that.
The only other question I had then was, you said, Mark, a 14% increase. What do we, anything we can attribute that to?
Other than that, it's been a very busy spring. In the past few days, we've seen a significant amount of the grass fire calls. Usually calls have been you can't necessarily control, right? On average, we can anticipate a 3 to 7% run volume increase year to year with either population or demographic shifts, or usually the biggest driver. There are certainly opportunities where we try and do some community education when we're out on scenes. I really hope it's kind of the yin and yang of having Vista Prairie come to town, where we hope that they're gonna have some controls in place and staffing in place to minimize some of the calls that we're seeing where people are trying to extend their stay in an independent living situation that maybe is not as beneficial. Almost every situation where we try to have that conversation of we're seeing repeat events, we're seeing similar repeat events, they're on 5 or 6 waiting lists to get placed in the senior living zone. We really do have tremendous bed availability shortage for people that are trying to age at home, that can no longer age at home, and there's nowhere else for them to go. Our insurance system certainly doesn't help because they can't be admitted unless they have a diagnosis that allows the provider to bill for care. So there's a lot of challenges that we're facing, especially as our population continues to age, that unfortunately is getting placed on pre-hospital services and care. So I do have some optimism with Vista Prairie coming. I do have some optimism that there's some other facilities that are coming up. We just need to make sure that it's on pace with our aging population, so we can get them into facilities that can hopefully minimize not only the extent, but the amount of the types of events that we see, not just us, right? It's all across, all across. The other big challenge is affordability. Not all these facilities are affordable for some of our seniors. And they feel like they really don't have any other option other than staying at home, which is branched off a lot of other discussions of how we help them age in place in a better position. I think we still got a long ways to go, but we do try to actively engage in that education piece. Advocate for the patient that the best we can, but once they leave, we don't know what's happening at the clinics, the hospitals, with availability and all those other resources that also need to be partners and getting people in that.
Great input. Anybody else? Any other further questions?
I just have
Oh,
one.
Amy, go ahead.
I haven't seen them around in a long time, but do they still have does the DNR still have the Smokey the Bear signs and the fire danger is low, medium, high?
They typically do at their BNR stations. I haven't seen them out at like Bethel WMA for quite some time. If you go out past the Carlos Avery wildfire station, which they're actually staffed right now, they've staffed earlier than they traditionally staffed. So we do have DNR resources that are responding to these grass fires with us, which is awesome resource to have. They do have their daily warning sign. What I always encourage people to do is before they have a recreational fire, before they call for a burn, go to the DNR website because they update it daily on what the burn restrictions are, if your permit is required or if they're restricted. So that's always kind of the first good step. It's also a good resource to look at that if the DNR is saying we're not offering permit burns, you might want to skip your rec fire.
Well, and have we put that in the newsletter?
Yeah.
To check there, okay, and I don't know, the Smokey the Bear is just more fun, I guess. And, a lot of people drive through here,
Yep.
could put one on 47, I have no idea what the cost is, but I haven't seen one of those around in a long time, maybe they're not even doing them, but, I don't know. Just for-
I haven't been paying attention, but wasn't there one on 22 there and 9?
I don't ever remember
think
seeing
so.
one there.
I swear there used to be one there.
I think there is one up in Cambridge by the sheriff's, by the government's office,
I've
'cause
seen a
that's where
few
they
here
are,
and
but
there, I swear there was one there.
I don't know, you could ask for one of those, that'd be kind of fun,
They do have one out by Carlos Avery and by the.
yeah. That's my thought.
Thanks for the report. Council member reports. I don't know, Sarah, we'll start with you.
Unfortunately, I did miss my first upper, river water. I
You were
had,
so excited.
I know, I got the flu and I was out for a week. I was really sick, so, but I did get to go to the Charter Commission meeting on Monday, the 10th. It was a good meeting. We discussed, meeting with the League of Minnesota Cities, and they were agreeable to sitting down and talking about the pros and cons of charter versus statutory city. And we also did discuss moving the mayor term to 4 years, and there seemed to be agreement on that, but we would still like to see it go to people for a vote, since they handily turned it down last time, but we encouraged better education this time to see if we could get people to understand what we're actually asking.
Thanks, Sarah.
Mhm.
Kevin?
I just want to thank Kate and Paul chaperoned us down to the state capitol last, on the 4th, Tuesday of March. Kate did an awesome job. She was cool, calm, and collected. I was a little more nervous than I got to, but we did a good job. I want to also send a shout out to our rep, Brian Lawrence, very enthusiastic, new in the seat. I think he'll do a good job. Feel free to write, call, or whatever to him. He seems like a good person with a good heart and cares about what we're doing, so. But, it was a great experience. Our lobbyist took us on a 15-minute tour around the Capitol, and what an august building it is. It's too bad there's so much turmoil and angst in there that it's a beautiful place. Everybody should take the opportunity to go down there. It's really cool. Other than that, we have a work session this coming Monday. And then I also want to give the chief a plug in. We had Citizens Academy on April 9th. Is it 9th through the 16th, or you have? Okay. Please, by all means, Joe has done it. I've done it. Any council members who haven't done it should do it. It's really awesome. It's fun. It's lighthearted. They do an awesome job as far as seeing your law enforcement in action. I recommend that, what's the age cutoff to be able to attend something like that?
You know, off the top of your head? I don't know, off the top of my head.
I want to say it was 16 when I asked,
16?
at one point, but it might be 18, but I think it was 16 at least.
Okay, when I did class a couple years ago, there was a young man who wanted to be a highway patrolman, and I think he is now a highway patrolman, or he's on his way, or no, he's one of our officers.
I think Officer.
Yeah, okay, well, the trail is made for him,
Hopefully the
so,
state patrol desires died down a little. But
Okay.
That was his first intention.
well, you gotta cut your teeth somewhere, so. Anyways, I really encourage people to do that. Again, council, anybody who hasn't done it, it's a good thing, so that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Joe?
You should go. Other than talking to a few residents here and there, I don't really have anything to report. I will ask, Todd, though, what is the cutoff for signing up for that? You know?
I can find out right now. I will let you.
Okay, and I would just encourage to all our residents, go on, you can check on Facebook, all the different resources to check it out, but Citizens Academy, I've seen a few different classes in there. I participated in one, but definitely an awesome experience, gives you a different perspective, and I would encourage anybody, whether you're staff, resident, council, whatever, check it out. It's awesome.
Thanks, Joe. Amy?
I don't have anything to report. I was gonna ask questions about the Citizens Academy, but everybody asked them. So, if some of you mentioned that you went, but I would like to go, but I don't want to take somebody's spot.
No,
You
you're
know,
fine.
like, is there room for an extra person here or there? Okay.
Officer, Byrne actually. Councilman Robinson brought up, because he did want me to ask. Just present the offer to council against it, so.
Okay.
But yes, there's definitely. it's all about-
And you have my permission to show the video of me being tased.
Ooh. Interesting.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Each time you pull a button.
Thanks. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be Wednesdays. I typically have a standing commitment on Wednesdays, but I did reach
Oh,
out back
sure.
to, well, hold on. Hold on. I did reach out to Investigator Hearn and I told him that I have had the training before in a different way. I was a Ramsey County volunteer deputy with Ramsey County. So there's actually video of being maced, so.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Can we get that?
So-
I take back half what I said.
We gotta dig that up.
Yeah, so, yeah, shout out to that. I want to thank again, Kevin, I want to thank you for sitting in for me, for going down to the state capitol for and Paul and Kate. Sounded like it went really well and wish I could have been there, but it's the way it goes sometimes. I also want to thank Dave for arranging and setting up. Jessica and I went to Northrop Grumman site. It was very informative. It just, the more you learn, the better. So it was just a very informative tour. Want everybody to really look. It came out today from the League of Minnesota Cities. There's in their newsletter here for March 17th, issue 10. They've got several House files and Senate files there that I think you want to pay attention to. And it talks about taking away a lot of power from the municipalities when it comes to zoning specifically, zoning and code, so.
Have you, I'm assuming, Weston reached out to you about the little meetings they have
Yes, correct.
periodically?
And unfortunately, I was out of town for that, but they had to cancel it anyway. There were too low a turnout, so.
I was just curious, cause I know they were talking about a lot of that stuff when they invited me to one.
Yeah, so there's more, he's gonna schedule more, but it did get canceled, so the mayor meeting. What else do I have? The last thing I have is just something, Kate and I were kicking around talking about. I just want to get council feedback on it, is saving Joe and people from having to come to some of these meetings. So maybe Joe loves it. I don't know. But I personally kind of agree. I don't think it's necessary for all the time for Craig or Joe as such to be here. So I don't know how the rest of I want to hear from the rest of the council what you think, like even Jessica, if there's nothing on there, do we really want them here on every meeting? I'm open to feedback. So whatever you guys
I mean, I'm not opposed if there's not anything relevant. I mean, obviously, somebody could come up with a question at any time, which you can always email them. We can always call them. Not a huge deal, I don't think, if they're not here, and I don't see any issue with it.
And some of the reasoning, just so you know, I mean, it's not like it's gonna be a big money saver per se, but
Right.
I'd rather people like Craig spend that extra time doing the work than sitting in the meeting that there's nothing on the agenda, there's nothing relevant. But of course, to your point, if there's anything on there that remotely involves any one of them, I would hope they would
Right.
be here, so.
Yeah.
Amy, you got,
I agree.
okay, Sarah?
I agree with that, although I think we should mandate Joe to be here at every meeting.
Kevin?
I agree too.
You're
I
welcome.
think it's a waste of time. And I don't know if our employees get comp time in lieu of, but I'm sure they'd rather be home with their families having a regular dinner hour than be here. And as far as Dave, I don't know if a part of our retainer, he has to, we pay while he's here, or if he wasn't here, do we save any money?
It's all in the retainer and you couldn't keep me away.
Police Academy right here. Here's your guy.
But we
No.
mentioned, there's several that, Dave and Kate, Jenny, and I think Todd, you know, and probably Darcy that, yeah, sorry, Darcy. That probably have to be here for every meeting, but beyond that, I just assume that they spend like,
Sure.
to your point. So nobody feels strongly about it. I think we're gonna kind of go on pursuing that, so.
Would they have the option if they really want to?
Yes, I think so.
I don't see
Sure.
why not. but
Yes.
Yeah.
Just figured I'd throw that out
Yep.
there.
Good
In case somebody's
question.
really passionate.
I think somebody should talk to Dave and say, you can't keep me away.
Been doing it for 20 years. I'm not stopping now.
Any other, so that's all I've got. Upcoming events, main one is the city council work session next Monday at 5:30. And again, for anybody who's watching, that's open to the public, please by all means, join us. And you see the other things on there, and so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Mulebauer, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Oh,
Second by Councilman Fanis. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pull the same sign. Motion passes. Meeting is closed at 6:40 PM.